Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're talking about on if you don't understand people, you don't understand business. In the world of business, there is a commonly held misconception that customers make purchasing decisions based purely on logic, price, quality, features, efficiency. But when we peel back the layers of human behavior, a deeper truth emerges. People buy emotions. They don't just buy what you're selling, they buy how it makes them feel. This one idea changes everything about how businesses should communicate, design, and deliver their value. Consider the difference between two coffee shops. One serves a hot beverage in a paper cup. The other creates an experience, the aroma, the music, the cozy lighting, the barista who remembers your name and your favorite order. Technically, both are selling coffee, but one is selling comfort, routine, familiarity. The other is selling caffeine. Guess which one has a line out the door every morning? Every product on the market today has competitors. In most industries, someone else offers something similar, often for a better price or with more features. But consumers still make emotional choices. They gravitate toward brands that reflect their identity, their aspirations, or their values. It's not about function. It's about feeling. This is why people are willing to pay extra for a brand that resonates with them personally, even when a cheaper, technically superior alternative exists. The emotional connection between a brand and its customers begins long before the point of sale. It starts with storytelling. People are wired for narrative. We remember stories far longer than we remember data. That's why companies that lead with story, real human stories, not corporate jargon, win hearts first and wallets second. When someone sees themselves in your story, they see your product as a part of their story. That is where loyalty is born. Think of the most successful marketing campaigns in history. They didn't focus on the product's utility, they focused on how the product made people feel. An athletic brand doesn't show you shoes, it shows you people overcoming odds. A car company doesn't talk about horsepower, it shows a father picking up his kids from school. A tech company doesn't talk about storage space, it shows someone using their device to chase a dream. These are emotional moments, and it's the emotion, not the product, that people remember. This is true not only in advertising, but in every customer interaction. The tone of voice on a support call, the design of your packaging, the words on your website. Every detail is a message to the customer about how much you care, how much you see them, and whether or not they matter. People can feel whether your business sees them as numbers or as human beings, and their buying behavior reflects that. Businesses that focus purely on utility and logic often find themselves stuck in a race to the bottom. They compete on price because that's the only lever they understand, but when a brand leads with emotion, it elevates the product beyond comparison. It becomes something more than an item, it becomes a symbol of confidence, of progress, of belonging, and symbols are powerful. People don't compare symbols, they cherish them. Another key piece of this truth is that emotions drive loyalty. People don't come back for a product, they come back for a feeling. That feeling could be excitement, nostalgia, security, or inspiration. Whatever it is, when a customer feels something positive around your brand, they'll return not out of obligation, but out of desire. And when you build a relationship based on desire, not necessity, that's when you stop being one of many and become the one that matters. What makes this principle even more powerful is its consistency across industries. Whether it's fashion, food, finance, or software, the emotional equation stays the same. Trust, joy, empowerment, comfort, these are the currencies of real connection. Businesses that invest in understanding the emotional lives of their customers will always outperform those that reduce people to metrics. There's a dangerous phrase that has found its way into business vocabulary: human resources. It may sound practical, even neutral, but it's deeply flawed. The moment people are referred to as resources alongside equipment, software, or office space, they are dehumanized. They are seen as assets to be used, not individuals to be supported. And yet in any organization, it is the people, not the tools, not the systems, that determine whether it rises or falls. Employees are not resources. They are the engine. When businesses forget this, they begin to treat their workforce like a line item on a spreadsheet. Headcount becomes a number to trim. Time becomes something to measure and squeeze. Compensation becomes a negotiation of how little can be offered without losing someone. In that kind of culture, people don't thrive, they survive. And surviving employees don't create innovation, growth, or loyalty. They do the bare minimum. They disengage. They leave. But in companies where seen, heard, and genuinely valued, something entirely different happens. They go beyond the job description. They bring creativity, passion, and ownership. They care not because they have to, but because they want to. That internal motivation, the kind that can't be measured by metrics alone, is the secret fuel of a successful business. The relationship between leadership and team is not one of control and compliance. It is one of trust and support. When leaders stop managing tasks and start empowering people, they tap into the full potential of the team. People don't show up to be told what to do. They show up to make a difference. But that difference can only happen if they are given space to contribute, space to grow, and space to be human. This shift in perspective also transforms the culture of accountability. In a top-down, resource-based model, accountability looks like surveillance, deadlines, check-ins, pressure. But in a people-centered culture, accountability is mutual. It flows in both directions. The company takes responsibility for the well-being and development of its people, and the people take responsibility for the mission of the company. That kind of accountability is powerful because it is chosen, not forced. A common mistake organizations make is investing heavily in customer experience while neglecting employee experience. What they don't realize is that the two are inseparable. Happy, engaged employees create remarkable customer experiences. Stressed, ignored, and undervalued employees cannot. The way a company treats its people eventually shapes the way those people treat its customers. Culture is contagious, and it always starts inside the walls of the business. This truth extends beyond salaries and perks. While compensation matters, it is not the ultimate driver of performance. What people want more than a paycheck is purpose. They want to feel like their work matters. They want to feel that their time is contributing to something bigger than profit. They want to feel respected, challenged, and appreciated. When those needs are met, performance follows. Always. There is also a misconception that emotional support in the workplace is a weakness, or that empathy makes leadership soft. Nothing could be further from the truth. Empathy is not softness, it's strength. It's the courage to step into someone else's shoes. It's the discipline to listen before reacting. It's the wisdom to recognize that behind every performance issue is a person, someone with a story, with struggles, with potential. Leaders who understand this create environments where people bring their full selves to work. Not just their skills, but their perspectives, their stories, their passion. That richness of diversity becomes a competitive advantage. Because when people feel safe to speak up, innovate, and challenge ideas without fear, the organization grows in directions no one could have predicted. The companies that truly last, are not the ones with the best strategy on paper. They are the ones that invested in their people first. They understood that the heartbeat of a business is not in the boardroom or the budget, it's in the break room, the brainstorm, the late-night problem solving. It's in the energy, creativity, and resilience of a team that knows it matters. Leadership is often misunderstood. Many believe it's about vision, direction, authority, and the ability to inspire others into action. While these traits matter, they are not what create lasting influence. The most powerful tool a leader has is not a bold voice or a charismatic presence, it's the ability to listen. Listening is more powerful than leading because true leadership begins when we understand the people we're supposed to serve. In business, listening is frequently mistaken for passivity, as if it means standing still or giving up control. But listening is not weakness, it's intentional attention. It's the discipline of silence that allows you to hear what is not being said. It's the skill of recognizing not just the words spoken, but the meaning behind them. Listening builds trust faster than any speech ever could because people don't want to be managed, they want to be understood. Every employee, every team member, every contributor in an organization has a voice. That voice carries insight, frustration, hope, and creativity. But if leadership isn't listening, those voices are silenced. And when voices are silenced, innovation dies, morale drops, and problems go unnoticed until they explode. On the other hand, leaders who consistently create space to listen learn more, adapt faster, and build a culture where people feel safe to speak openly. Listening also means stepping back from ego. It means letting go of the assumption that the leader must always have the answer. The strongest leaders are those who surround themselves with intelligent people and actually hear them. They ask questions not to assert dominance, but to learn. They are comfortable admitting they don't know everything. That vulnerability is not a liability, it's the foundation of real connection. People don't follow titles. They follow leaders who are human. There is a distinct difference between hearing and listening. Hearing is passive. It happens by default. Listening is active. It requires focus, effort, patience. It means putting down the phone, turning away from the screen, and looking someone in the eyes. In that moment, the message becomes clear: you matter. Your thoughts matter. Your experience matters. When people feel heard, they feel respected. And when they feel respected, they engage more fully. Many companies suffer not from a lack of talent or strategy, but from a lack of listening. Decisions are made in rooms where only a few voices are heard. Policies are created without understanding the daily realities of those affected by them. Feedback is dismissed because it's inconvenient. Over time, this creates distance, a gap between leadership and the front lines, between intention and execution. That gap is where confusion grows and where trust breaks down. Listening is especially critical during times of change or crisis. When uncertainty is high, people don't just need direction, they need validation. They need to know their fears are being acknowledged, their suggestions are being considered, and their efforts are being noticed. A leader who listens during difficult moments doesn't just lead better, they lead deeper. They earn a kind of loyalty that no directive or incentive could ever buy. The practice of listening must also extend beyond formal settings. It's not just for meetings or performance reviews. It's in the hallway conversation, the quick check-in, the small but sincere moments of attention. These moments may seem insignificant, but they shape culture in powerful ways. Over time, they build a foundation where people feel safe enough to be honest, vulnerable, and creative. That safety is what allows teams to flourish. Listening also reveals what metrics cannot. Data can show you what is happening, but not why. Surveys can tell you trends, but not emotions. Only listening reveals the human layer underneath the numbers. That human layer is where the real business lives. Because behind every performance issue is a story. Behind every success is a motivation. Behind every frustration is a need waiting to be met. Listening brings those truths into the open, and once they're visible, they can be addressed, strengthened, and transformed into growth. The practice of listening must also extend beyond formal settings. It's not just for meetings or performance reviews. It's in the hallway conversation, the quick check-in, the small but sincere moments of attention. These moments may seem insignificant, but they shape culture in powerful ways. Over time, they build a foundation where people feel safe enough to be honest, vulnerable, and creative. That safety is what allows teams to flourish. Listening also reveals what metrics cannot. Data can show you what is happening, but not why. Surveys can tell you trends, but not emotions. Only listening reveals the human layer underneath the numbers. That human layer is where the real business lives. Because behind every performance issue is a story. Behind every success is a motivation. Behind every frustration is a need waiting to be met. Listening brings those truths into the open, and once they're visible, they can be addressed, strengthened, and transformed into growth. In the world of business, most people are focused on transactions, buying, selling, negotiating, executing, but beneath the surface of every transaction is a far more valuable and fragile asset: trust. Trust is not a soft concept or an optional quality. Trust is currency. It determines the strength of every relationship, the loyalty of every customer, the unity of every team, and the rank of every team, and the credibility of every leader. Without trust, everything slows down. Decisions are second-guessed. Information is filtered. Energy is spent on protection instead of creation. Teams hesitate. Clients look elsewhere. Meetings multiply because no one believes what was agreed upon will be honored. In contrast, when trust is high, communication is fluid, action is quick, collaboration is real, and innovation happens faster. Trust accelerates progress because it removes the friction of fear. Trust is earned, not claimed. It is not granted automatically with a title or a contract. It must be built deliberately through consistency, integrity, transparency, and empathy. Every interaction, every decision, every promise kept or broken contributes to the trust account, either as a deposit or a withdrawal. Unlike financial capital, trust takes time to build and only seconds to lose. A single moment of dishonesty or self-interest can unravel months or years of credibility. In leadership, trust is everything. People don't follow instructions, they follow belief. And belief only comes when they trust the person guiding them. A leader can have all the contrast. When trust is high, communication is fluid, action is quick, collaboration is real, and innovation happens faster. Trust accelerates progress because it removes the friction of fear. Trust is earned, not claimed. It is not granted automatically with a title or a contract. It must be built deliberately through consistency, integrity, transparency, and empathy. Every interaction, every decision, every promise kept or broken contributes to the trust account, either as a deposit or a withdrawal. Unlike financial capital, trust takes time to build and only seconds to lose. A single moment of dishonesty or self-interest can unravel months or years of credibility. In leadership, trust is everything. People don't follow instructions, they follow belief. And belief only comes when they trust the person guiding them. A leader can have all the. Internally, trust is the foundation of culture. Without it, silos form, blame spreads, and politics take over. But in organizations where trust is cultivated, people collaborate freely. They share ideas, feedback, and challenges without fear of retribution. They operate from a place of mutual respect and shared purpose. They believe in each other's intentions even when they disagree. That kind of culture cannot be faked. It is built brick by brick, conversation by conversation, decision by decision. Transparency plays a crucial role in trust building. When leaders are open about challenges, honest about limitations, and willing to share the reasoning behind decisions, they invite others into the process. That invitation builds ownership. It shows that leadership is not hiding, spinning, or manipulating. It's saying you deserve the truth. And when people receive the truth, even when it's hard, they respond with maturity, respect, and often renewed commitment. Another essential part of trust is follow-through. Promises create expectations. Meeting those expectations consistently creates reliability. Reliability becomes reputation. Reputation becomes trust. It doesn't require grand gestures. Often the smallest acts, showing up on time, delivering when you said you would, checking in when you didn't have to, are the ones that build the deepest trust. Because they show that you mean what you say and you care enough to show it. Trust also extends to how a business treats people when no one is watching. Ethical behavior, fair treatment, and long-term thinking are signs that trust is embedded not just in branding but in values. Organizations that do the right thing even when it's not profitable in the short term send a clear message: people matter more than margins. That kind of integrity attracts not just customers but talent partners and communities who want to be associated with something bigger than profit. In a marketplace full of choices, where competitors are only a click away, loyalty has become one of the most valuable and elusive qualities a business can earn. It is no longer enough to offer a good product, fast delivery, or even fair pricing. Loyalty is not built on transactions, it is built on connection. People stay where they feel something deeper, something more human. Connection is what transforms a one-time customer into a lifelong advocate and a passive employee into an engaged believer. Connection begins with recognition. People want to be seen not just as buyers or workers, but as individuals. When a company takes the time to understand the people it serves or employs, it creates a bond that is emotional, not just practical. This can be as simple as remembering a customer's name, noticing a team member's effort, or asking questions that go beyond the surface. These gestures are small on the surface, but they create emotional impact that lasts far longer than any marketing campaign. Loyalty grows when people feel understood. A customer who feels like a number will leave the moment something more convenient appears. But a customer who feels like a person will stay, even when there are cheaper or faster alternatives. That's because loyalty is emotional, not logical. It's not about what you offer, it's about how people feel when they interact with your brand. If that feeling is one of appreciation, empathy, and connection, they will return not because they have to, but because they want to. Within an organization, the same principle holds true. Connection between leaders and team members fosters commitment. When people feel connected to their manager, to their peers, and to the mission of the company, they don't just do their jobs, they take ownership. They protect the culture. They go the extra mile, not because they're told to, but because they care. This kind of loyalty cannot be bought with bonuses or benefits. It's earned through consistent human connection. Connection also means being present. In a world full of distractions, genuine attention is rare and powerful. Whether it's a 5-minute conversation with a customer or a one-on-one meeting with a team member, the act of truly listening sends a message: you matter. That message creates emotional safety, and emotional safety is the foundation of loyalty. People trust where they feel safe, and they stay where they feel trusted. Authenticity is another core ingredient of connection. People can sense when a business or a leader is putting on a mask. Scripted responses, empty slogans, or overly polished branding creates distance, not connection. Real connection happens when a company or a leader dares to show its human side, the imperfection, the humility, the honesty. It's in these real moments that people begin to believe, not just in the product, but in the people behind it. Connection also requires consistency. One good interaction can make a positive impression, but loyalty is built over time through repeated experiences that reinforce the same feeling. Every touchpoint matters: the tone of an email, the ease of a return policy, the warmth of a greeting, the transparency of a policy. When all these moments align with the values a company claims to hold, trust deepens and connection grows stronger. When connection is prioritized, loyalty becomes a natural outcome. It doesn't need to be forced. Customers begin to share your brand because they feel proud to be associated with it. Employees begin to recruit others because they believe in the environment they're part of. Partners begin to invest more deeply because they see not just potential, but purpose. Loyalty that grows from connection is not fragile. It can withstand mistakes, challenges, and change because it is rooted in relationship, not convenience or transaction. Businesses that understand this shift their focus from chasing attention to building relationships. They stop treating people like a means to an end and start treating them like the reason they exist in the first place. Connection becomes the strategy, not just the outcome, and in doing so, they create not only loyal customers and committed teams, but lasting impact. In business, the conversation often starts and sadly ends with numbers: profit margins, quarterly earnings, shareholder value. These are the metrics that dominate boardrooms and investor meetings, but beneath every figure, behind every by the core of every successful business is a truth that too many overlook: people drive profit, not the other way around. When companies prioritize people, profit becomes the result, not the objective. There is a critical difference between being people-focused and being profit-driven. A profit-driven mindset asks, how can we extract the most from our people? A people-focused mindset asks, how can we bring out the best in our people? The first approach sees humans as tools. The second sees them as the source. In the long run, only one of those models sustains momentum, growth, and innovation. When companies pour into their people through support, development, trust, and meaningful work, they activate something that spreadsheets can't measure: pride. Pride in the product and the mission in the team. Pride turns routine into craftsmanship. It transforms service into experience. It pushes people to go beyond their job description because they care, not because they're told to. That kind of engagement isn't built through pressure. It's built through purpose. Purpose is a powerful motivator. People will work for money, but they'll give their heart to something they believe in. And when employees are connected to a deeper reason behind the work, performance increases not just in output, but in quality. They become ambassadors of the brand, protectors of the culture, and catalysts for growth. When they win, the company wins. When they feel valued, they deliver value. This same principle extends to customers. Too many businesses focus on converting customers instead of connecting with them. They spend millions on advertising and funnels, chasing short-term gains while ignoring the long-term value of relationships. But customers, like employees, are people first. And people don't stay loyal to a price point, they stay loyal to a feeling. If a brand consistently delivers respect, reliability, and relevance, people return. That return drives revenue, not the other way around. The irony is that businesses obsessed with profit often underperform. That's because their decision-making becomes reactive, short-sighted, and transactional. Cost-cutting replaces value creation, speed replaces service, and over time, people both inside and outside the organization start to feel it. The culture erodes, the product suffers, the brand weakens. What was once an engine of growth becomes a machine in decline. Profit alone cannot fix what people no longer believe in. But when leadership puts people at the center of the equation, something different happens. Strategies become more holistic, goals become more human. The energy inside the company shifts from survival to creativity, and customers notice. They don't always articulate it, but they feel it. They feel the sincerity in every interaction, the care in every detail, and the consistency in every promise kept. That emotional connection is not a line item on a balance sheet, but it is the reason the balance sheet grows. Investment in people is not an expense, it's the smartest long-term strategy. Training, mentoring, flexibility, empathy, recognition, these are not luxuries. They are necessities. Because when a company refuses to invest in its people, it eventually pays the price through turnover, disengagement, and reputational loss. On the other hand, companies that lead with heart attract the best talent, earn the deepest loyalty, and build the strongest brands. Profit is a reflection, not a cause. It reflects how well a company listens to its people, how authentically it engages with its audience, and how deeply it honors its purpose. The organizations that rise above the noise, weather the storms, and outlast their competitors are not the ones chasing every dollar. They are the ones that understand that business is not built on numbers, it is built on people. When people are empowered, supported, and inspired, they don't just work harder, they work smarter, together, and with a sense of ownership that no spreadsheet can ever predict.